G'day. Well, today I thought I might show you my new stretcher tent. I actually bought not so long ago an Aldi stretcher. I think it cost me about 50 bucks, and I've set that up. And I just thought I'd put my swag on it, but the swag's actually a little bit big for it. So I had a bit of a think about it, and I thought, oh, I could get one of those stretcher tents, and I found one on AliExpress. Soomloom is the brand. Anyway, I'll set up the stretcher. There's no magic in that. And then I'll set up the stretcher tent, which I haven't actually opened the bag yet. So we'll see what that's like together. Anyway, it's a nice day, so it'll be a good opportunity to record it and give you a look at what it's all about. And if you're interested in it, I'm not, selling this. I just bought it myself out of my own money. And I thought, yeah, it might come in handy for a bit of, car camping. So let's take a look at what goes on. Right, so this is the bag that it comes in. It's boxed when I received it, but this is the brand Soomloom Outdoors. The bag itself feels pretty good. I haven't opened this, so we'll get a look at it together for the first time. The bag actually comes with these little snap latches, which are kind of good because it means you can compress the bag a little bit. Weighs about 2 kilos, or just a shade over 2 kilos, and the overall length of that bag is about 500 mil. So let's, the zips are good. They've got these nice little finger pulls on them that are a little bit better than your average bows. So let's see, I think I paid about $145 for this off AliExpress. No reviews seen so far, so this is potluck for me. Thought it might be a better option as it's designed to fit the stretcher tent that I have. So let's get it out and have a look. Let me set up the stretcher tent first, show you what that looks before I put this on, and then we'll open this in its entirety without being seen by my eyes at all yet. Anyway, let's get into it. And here's the Aldi stretcher. Sort of see what that looks like on there. I'll get that set up in a sec. This weighs about 6 kilos, so all up the tent and the stretcher weigh about 8 kilos. And they're roughly the same length, so they should sort of almost take up the same amount of space as each other. Anyway, let's set up the stretcher, because it's going to look like that. There's no point showing you how that goes together, but just have a look more at the stretcher tent than anything else. Let's get into it. Okay, so there's the stretcher tent set up. It should be okay. It's not super wide. I'm about 5'10", weigh about 80 kilos, so for me that's pretty good, I think. It's actually relatively comfortable. That setup has got some little levers on the legs that actually stretch it nice and taut, so that makes it nice and firm. Anyway, I'd use a blow-up mattress inside anyway, but let's start to unbox it or unbag it, and we'll get it out and we'll start looking at it and setting it up. Okay, let's get this little guy to work, see what it's all about. As you can see, I've got a bit of an audience. Unzip this, let's see what's in the bag. Okay, it's all rolled up, but we do have some instructions. Actually, the instructions are pretty good. I was a bit surprised. Actually, they're quite legible and quite easy to understand. Well, that's a turn up for a bit of Chinese stuff that I have had in the past. Anyway, let's see what this is all about. So in here, we've got a bag of poles. Feels like a bag of tent pegs. I imagine that's the fly, and I imagine that's the inner. Alright, pretty straightforward. Let's get this stuff out. Have a look at it. Yeah, okay. The metal poles, good. 2 sets. Set of 8 pegs and some guy rope. Put that in there for now. Alright, we've got a inner tent. Let's get that on the ground, see what that looks like. Oh, hello. Just while I'm here, here's our little friends. Get a load of these guys. Hello guys. You think I got an apple, don't you? Hey, you all think I got some food for you. I haven't. Hello. Hello little baby. This is the new one, Oscar. He's a cutie, aren't you mate? Look at this little face. How could you not like a little face like that? Hey, what a cute little donkey. Good on you fella. They're regulars, they always come up and say hello. This little baby belongs to her. This is Pops. Alright, back to business. Right, we'll get this out. So it's got an opening both sides by the look of it. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. We'll lay that down. And we'll get the poles out. Now I know you've got to assemble the poles first. I did sneak a peek at the instructions, so they're all pretty straightforward. They all just go where they've got to go. They're all connected by bungee. And so we just do all that. And that should be pretty easy. Okay, so far I'm missing a pole or two. Let's just see where they are. Anyway, there's more in here, so let's just see what that's about. So I presume there's a little bit more assembly involved in that. Oh, okay, I see what's happening. These end ones are going to connect probably into the spare on that other end down there. That'd make sense. That'd be for both. So they're mirror image poles really. Yep, look at that. Okay, so the trick is to connect this pole and this pole, I think. This one and this one, because that's got to go into here. That's got to go into there. Right. Okay, so that goes into there like that. Boom. Okay, that's good. And I presume we do the same on the other side. So these ends have also got to go into these rings somewhere. So there's a little ring slot there. There's one. Let's do the other end. Same again here. Pretty straightforward. One on each corner. So far so good and simple. Right. Then all we've got to do is that last one. And let's see how that looks. Where's our fourth one? Here it is. That can go in there. And then we just bring this up and over together, I presume. And that should somehow, if I do it correctly, okay, let's just undo one. I think we have to rotate it a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Just didn't have it round quite the right way. Got to get that in there, otherwise she won't do its thing. Right, put that in there. Now that's got to be twisted around like that, and that's got to be twisted around like that, and then you pop that in there. So you end up with this frame looking like that. We'll get all this out of the way. And we get this little tent and we chuck it all up onto there. Now underneath it has little pockets. So these little pockets go over the corner. So you just hit that there and you just loop that one there, loop that one there. That one's already on, and that's the last one. Now that'll hold that all to the base, which is the stretcher. Okay, so that's pretty good. So far so good. Then it's just a matter of getting all these little hooks and just arranging them on the poles. So just follow that through, I guess. One there, one there. Just let it work itself out. Maggie's going nuts in the background, but that's okay. Makes me feel like I'm out in the bush. So let's just snap all those on. Pretty easy, really. I'm pretty impressed so far. That's without ever doing it before. That was pretty much a cinch. All right. So that's the inner pretty much done. One more. Okay. So we're zipping up the doors. Let's have a look and see what they look like. Oops. We'll get to that. Okay, I see that's not connected. So not quite sure what they've done here. Oh, that's for the bottom zip. Okay. So there's a zip along the bottom so you can lift it up. And there's a zip all the way over here. And so you could take that other zip right to here and then you'd have a wide open flap with all that out of the way. So there, it's one side done up. I know it's not level, I wouldn't be sleeping on it in my yard like that, but here we are, the other side. Boom, that's that. Alright, so that sort of sets up the inner. Now we'll gather up all our pegs and ropes and we'll do, oh, that's a tie strap for holding the tent in a roll when it's packed. Alright, now depending on which side you want to get in, I suppose this will have some sort of orientation. But it's pretty easy to see that it's got, well actually it's got two openings, so it doesn't matter which way you put this. So let's just throw it over, see what it looks like. So if we line all this up where it looks like it needs to go, there's a couple little buckles on each corner which will go into there. That holds the fly on. Same again this corner. Another little buckle. Buckle number 3. Hoping you can see that with this camera on my head. And this one here, number 4, last one. Alright, so that's that part done. Now the next thing is to, I believe, tie out the corners. So that'll give you your ventilation. So there's a couple of pegs. I'm not sure about what ropes we use. Let's see. Let's see how far these little bungee hoops will stretch. Will they stretch the ground? Oh yeah. Let's see what happens if I just use that. These have got little hooks in them, so you've got to orientate them correctly. I won't push them all the way in for now, I'll just do it for a setup. Couple more. One on each corner. That's that. Well, let's go out a little bit further, make that a bit tighter. Yep. That's that. Corner number 3. Okay, see a bit of a problem. We might not have enough length in those. We'll have to adjust that a little bit. Perhaps we'll get a bit more bungee, just so we're not pulling that too tight, because that's a bit too stretched at the moment. And I don't want to overstretch it and break anything or tear anything. So, a little bit of bungee magic coming up. Alright, I've made up the extra extensions. I'll put them on this end so that I can drop that end down a little bit. And this time, I brought a hammer. Right, so unhook that, put them on there. Alright, there's an extension. That means I can get a bit of slack out of that. Pull them across a bit on the other end. Pull that down a bit. Right, I think I need to undo the other end completely. There is an adjustment in here too, so I guess I need to fiddle with that a little bit just to make sure that that is pulled as it should be pulled. Figure out how that works in a minute, but realistically there is a bit of an adjustment there just to pull that down. And I think that'll be all I need. Okay, let's try just evening it out a little bit with the extra cord. See how that pans out. Put another one on here. I reckon if I move that peg out there too, that will help. Possibly move that peg out a little bit. Right, that's going to give me good rain coverage. Anything that gets on there will run off, won't go on the inner. Looks like the same to be said on the other end, I hope. Yeah, once I pull that bit out a bit further. Right, trick is just bring them out a little bit further. Okay. Righto, that's good, that's good. Now you also get ropes to tie off these as well. So we'll bring that out. There is a little bit of a strap here that's adjustable, but I think that'll be alright. Where's my hammer? Okay, that's that one done. There is an adjustment here if you want to pull it a bit tighter. That's really good so far. Yeah, that's looking good. And then of course one for the front, because you're going to want to pull out this vestibule kind of bit. And let's see, this is a bit interesting because how do you get in there? Oh, there must be a zip. Alright. I'll put this here. Right, then I can adjust that as tight as I like. That's it. That's the setup. So look, pretty straightforward. I probably made it look a little bit harder than it was, but because of that extra height, you do need to have those extra bungee cords. Alright, so that's it. That's it in its entirety. You can see it's well covered for any rain. Now, in order to get into the tent, we'll be unzipping something, I imagine. So we've got a zip here. Okay, that's good. Oh, I can take this off. Got it. Unhook that. Let's see if we've got anywhere to tie this up at the moment. Oh yes, we do. It is a little bit funny. Okay, so we can roll it up like any normal tent vestibule. And voila, we've got a little point to hold it. Same on the other side. So that's one side up, which in this case not so practical because this is really this is not the entry point. The entry point's on the other side. So here we undo this one, unhook it from there, roll it up again, roll that, rolling, hook him onto there, job's done. Now I've got access easily to the entry points. Alright, well let's get this one undone because I'm not going to undo that one. I'm going to leave that one zipped up. Oops. Alright, back on your peg you go. And look at that. That is one smart little tent. Alright, let's see what it looks like. I better get inside. You've got nice little storm flaps here so that if there is rain, the zips are well covered. And I'm hoping it'll be quite waterproof because on my car I have an awning tent, or an awning, one of those, what do you call them? Iron Man awning. I've got an Iron Man awning off the side of my car. I would position this perhaps just under it so that I do actually get the benefit of shelter on this if I'm getting in and out and it's raining. We'll see how that goes in reality. So I'll also do a follow-up video on this where I'm actually showing you it in situ in a real camp situation. That'll be my next trip out. I'm just going to lay in this, make sure everything's all right. I'm sure it will. I've already laid on the stretcher. I'll give this a good hose down. I just want to make sure it's waterproof before I actually take it out on my next trip, which I'm going to use this on my next trip. And then of course, you know, with these storm flaps, it'll be nice and dry inside, hopefully, after I've zipped up all the doors. I don't know what the seams are like. We haven't really had a good look at them. But at this stage, I'll have to pull that off to have a proper look, but I'd say they're tape sealed. Yeah, they're all taped. Every seam's taped, so I'm banking it'll be pretty waterproof. And this gives it a little bit of stability when you actually got a bit of wind going on, because that's not going to blow away. Not going to blow away in any sense. That's actually quite sturdy. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's a winner. And of course, if you want to go further, particularly when this is not zipped up, you can actually pull these little adjusters down a bit just to tighten it up, so that takes that slackness out of it. If you want to have your vents open, there's little vent stays, so that gives you ventilation sideways. I'm sure you get plenty of ventilation up from the ground, but both ends have got them. I reckon that's pretty good. So you can just open up your vents as such. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's really just a one-man tent built for a stretcher. So my stretcher is about 190, I think it's about 75 wide. Don't quote me on that. I'll put the dimensions up on the screen somewhere so that you know exactly what sort of stretcher this tent actually fits. There are two sizes. There is one for a bigger tent, so if you go and look for cot tents, actually they call them cot tents on AliExpress. If you call them cot tents, they'll come up, they'll show you what the sizes are. There's two sizes, and be aware when you're ordering it, shows you a number of different prices. It's a bit cheeky, AliExpress, because they show you the cheapest price, but they show you the picture of the dearest item. So you think you're getting the dearest item for that price, but when you look into things a little bit, you might not be getting that. You might be getting an accessory at that cheaper price. If you want the actual product, you've got to select it, and then it shows you the true price. This was about 150 delivered from China to Australia. The stretcher was about 50, I think, $50 from Aldi. So all up, it's about a $200 setup. I think for the quality of it, which looks really good, the stitching's all good, the zips are good, the quality of the buckles, the tape sealing, everything looks pretty good. I'm happy with that for 150 bucks. Considering it gives me that portability to use a stretcher, which I like because I don't really like sitting on the ground, sleeping on the ground these days. And I think I'm going to get the waterproof protection out of this that I need. And it's not too big, it's not too heavy, it's alright in the car, no problem, packs away easy, it's nice and light, but it's not super heavy for hiking. So obviously the stretch is 6 kilos, the tent's 2 kilos, there's 8 kilos. You're not going to be chucking that in the backpack, but perfect for camping in a car. So what the other thing is, they do have bigger sizes as well, and the bigger size is for a bigger stretcher, so it's longer and wider. So if you already have a stretcher and you don't quite know what to get, measure your stretcher first and then have a look at the website Soomloom, S-O-O-M-L-O-O-M, Soomloom Outdoors, and just make sure you get the right one for your stretcher, and order it with everything included, including the fly, because you can buy the inner on its own without the fly. You don't want that, it's not much good unless you're going to put it under something else, but I reckon that's pretty good. So let's take a look inside. I've put on my camp slippers, mostly because I'm not going to get inside with my shoes on, and every camp needs a good pair of Crocs. Okay, so what's what I was saying about these little zip pulls? They've got a good finger hook on them. I think that's, you know, a little bit of an added extra. Zips all the way down. Okay, there you go. Here I am. Okay, it's got a pocket here. So there's the vent out there, obviously. It's got a little pocket here. Nice mesh, nice fine mesh. Got a hook for a light. That's very handy. What else? Oh, there's another mesh pocket at the end for storing stuff. This is not very thick, which is okay because you're not going to be on the ground. You're actually going to always be on a stretcher. The mesh feels good. Looks like I've got a hook both sides. Yep, 2 hooks. That one seems to be offset a little bit for some reason. It doesn't matter. Yeah, and then of course I've got this extra door on the other side, which is all mesh. So I reckon it's going to be great. Let's see how it goes for length. I know the stretch is okay. I've laid in here before, but let's see how we go. Feet in, ring pull, where are you? Okay, that's easy to get to, easy to zip it up. Right. Righto, here we are. I've got plenty of room without the GoPro camera on. I wouldn't normally go to bed with that on. So my feet kind of just touching the other end. Just. But that wouldn't matter. And my head wouldn't be touching this end. So lengthwise my stretcher's fine. This stretcher tent really does fit it quite well. Perfect for the job. So I would use an air mattress in here. One other thing I've noticed, let me turn you around, is that it's also got pockets here. So it's got a little pocket here, just near the air vent. It's alright if you want to dry socks, maybe. You had to get your feet wet at some point, and you had to dry your socks, you can hang them in there and let the vent do its work. There's this little pocket there. Let's see if there's one up the other end. Yep, one each end. So it doesn't matter which end you lay in, there's a pocket both ends. So 4 pockets, 2 hooks, nice ring. I reckon this is a winner. This is great. Good, you know, good solid aluminium poles, quite strong. A lot of flex in them. I don't think they're going to break terribly easy. 2 vestibules, and you're on your stretcher. So it's a lot less bulky than a swag for me. By the time I put my little air mattress in here, I'm definitely going to have a lot more space in the car than when I take my swag, because the swag takes up quite a bit of space and it doesn't quite fit on this stretcher. So yeah, this is good. Even without a mattress on it, it's not too bad. Yeah, I'm thinking that's alright even without the mattress, but I'll still use a mattress. I like a mattress. And of course my sleeping bag. I'll be snug as a bug in a rug here. Dry, hopefully. I'll do the test on it, see what it's like, and I'll show you. Don't believe there's no leaks. that's the final test on this, but yep, pretty happy with it. Looks good. Okay, the official test. Got the hose. And here we go. We'll just run it on there. As you'd expect, it's beaten off pretty well. Brand new 10. Let's see how that goes. Hopefully my test hose doesn't come apart. I don't know how good this connection is. Anyway, I'll give these seams a bit of a test over the vents. I'll give these seams a good soaking, especially around the vents and around those little vestibule flaps. See how it goes. It's like Queensland weather, monsoon. Even with a bit of sideways rain, that'd really give that protection with that little storm flap on it. But we'll give it a good soak, especially around the top and the seams. Definitely quite waterproof on the outside. As it looks, it's beating off really well. That's because it's brand new, no dust or anything on it yet. And bear in mind, when I'm using this, I'm going to be partly under an awning anyway, so I don't expect to get too wet either way. But if I was sitting out in the middle of nowhere with nothing over it, this is the test I want to make sure it passes. There's a bit of water on the ground, as you can see, so it's getting hammering. Yeah, I reckon that's probably good enough. Once the grass is getting a bit of a water, it's pretty dry here at the moment. Alright, now we shall see what we shall see. Righto, here we go, the litmus test. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, let's shake it off a little bit so I don't get saturated. How's that look? It doesn't pull that much up the top. Doesn't pull, well, at this level it probably wouldn't pull at all. So, alright, the storm flaps hopefully did their job. Tape sealing hopefully did its job. Let's just see how we go. Let's unhook this and get inside. Well, no water on the fly this side, I mean on the inner. No water on the inner this side. Okay, well, not a drop of water inside. Okay, I call that waterproof at the moment. I'm sure sustained rain would maybe make a difference, but I think on the basis that it's pretty good material for waterproofing with all the seam sealing and storm flaps, I'm not going to worry. I think I'll be safe from the rain. Okay, well, I'm going to call that a wrap. Just going to go slow with this because the storm flap does tend to catch. Okay, so Soomloom, I reckon you're a hit. Let's see how you go out in the real world when we go camping next. Okay, Soomloom, 150 bucks, AliExpress, for a stretcher tent. It's pretty good. And I like the colour. It's a nice brown, it's not too obvious. Matches my other stuff really, so yeah, good. I don't think it comes in any other colours. I think that's it. It might change in time, but at this stage, that's what it is. Alright, hope that was helpful. I'll see you in the video when I'm camping in it. Just an extra note, these little tabs here are actually for extra tie outs, so if you do need to pull it out, you get an extra peg and an extra rope each end so that you can tie them out a bit more securely. You know, I don't think it's necessary, but at least you've got a spare rope and a peg if you need one, just to tie these out. Another good feature of the Soomloom tent. I think they've sorted most things, and it's going to be quite easy to set up. All I say is just remember, if you've got a higher tent, or higher stretcher I should say, you'll need the extra bungees to allow that to be tied out properly, but that's no biggie. These little cords here on the side, they're no problem. There's plenty of length in them and they are adjustable. So everything worked out well. And we just need to hook that down and that's it. There you go.
Drop the bass.